Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Pflueger, and I am the Precision Ag Coordinator for Pheasants Forever here in Nebraska. And I'm actually based out of the York County NRCS office, and I cover York and the surrounding 8 counties. And today I'm here to talk to you about best management practices to put those on the landscape to help keep soil and fertilizer and pesticides from reaching our groundwater, running off fields, and getting into recharge lake as well. So some of the best management practices include cover crops, buffer and filter strips, no-till, and irrigation water management. Cover crops are good at preventing erosion because you have biomass out there on the landscape when your cash crops aren't out there. So there's always a growing root in the ground, sucking up excess nutrients, holding the soil. And with the extra biomass that you gain from cover crops, it can also be used as haying and grazing resources as well. Buffer and filter strips are perennial strips of vegetation that help filter out silt and clays, again, pesticides and fungicides and herbicides, and keep them from getting into the groundwater. They can also be utilized as wildlife habitat, pollinator resources, and things of that nature. No-till helps with reducing runoff and erosion because you're keeping that soil covered all the time, and you're not disturbing and breaking down those soil aggregates by mechanically tilling them. Irrigation water management is another good best management practice because you're only applying water that you need and you're not applying excess water, which really makes those soil particles and pesticides and herbicides more mobile across the landscape. So for cover crops, a lot of people are nervous about cost, number one, or maybe they just don't have the experience with cover crops, so they're worried about termination of them, maybe reducing crop yield and things of that nature. But a lot of farmers today are starting to use them and get more acquainted with them. So I would say the best thing to do with cover crops if you're nervous about trying them is just to reach out to a local producer that you know, or even your local NRD, and they can put you in contact with somebody who is implementing these practices. Buffer and filter strips, a lot of people are nervous about, well, they think they're losing valuable crop ground. And the thing with buffer and filter strips is that they don't have to take up that much area within your field. Even a small buffer or filter strip's really going to make a big difference. So when it comes to keeping the groundwater clean, preventing erosion, you're definitely going to make up economic benefits in the long run from that. Well, when you're talking about no-till, you're not working that soil again, so you can see some economic benefits right up front because you're not taking extra trips across the field, so you're saving on fuel costs, you're saving on your own time, and you're also saving on wear and tear on that equipment. And the less you're out there working your soil, the faster you're going to build organic matter, which in turn increases water holding capacity and helps you get through more extreme weather events. And irrigation water management, again, some people just think they need to put as much water out there as they can, which is not true. You can hit the crops when they really need the water throughout that time of year and keep everything in place when you don't need that water. When you add excess water to the soil, you're catching up those nutrients in that water, and then you're moving them throughout the soil profile, or they might be binded to the soil particles, and when you add that excess water, it's running them off the field, so some of those nutrients are definitely leaving your field. Not taking those excess nutrients or the fertilizer that you paid for and removing it from your system. You're leaving it more within the field where it needs to be utilized by that crop. And obviously when you're putting on extra water that you don't need, you also have the fuel and electricity bill that you're dealing with as well. So yeah, that irrigation water management is just one of the tools that you can use to make your operation more profitable.